Hello and welcome to this code flow tutorial. And in this code flow tutorial, we're going to be looking at HTML basics. We literally mean the introduction to using HTML. Let's go. HTML is one of the 5 programming languages, main ones, required in building a good website. A good and professional looking website. And I think the rest, as you've known, we have the CSS, we have the JavaScript, we have the PHP, SQL, and many more. But we all know that it all falls within the range of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and SQL. With those 5, you're good to go in building your website. And in this tutorial, we're going to be exploring HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And we're not going to be going about the history of how it was created, but mostly about the basics related to HTML. HTML is very simple to learn, and if you pay quite a very good attention in learning it, we believe you'll be able to perfect it within a month. In fact, within weeks, you can be very good and very efficient in building a website with HTML. Let's leave the CSS part for now. So for us to get started in this HTML tutorial, we are going to be using some editors, and I think I've got a few editors to recommend to you. We can actually make use of Adobe Dreamweaver. The Dreamweaver app, but because of we are going to have to introduce you to the basic use of Dreamweaver, it's going to cause a bit of some issues. So let's not use Dreamweaver for now, but instead I've got a very simple code editor that might be of great use to you. We have the Visual Studio Code, and as you can see right here, you can program in multiple languages in the Visual Studio Code, and it's built for Windows, and maybe we have other versions too, but this is the ones I get for now. And so as you can see, for Windows, that's different kind of format, for Mac, PC, and many other ones out there. And I also have this one also called Sublime Text. It's very good, a very efficient text editor, but I still prefer Visual Studio Code because it has some plugins that you can use with your site. I have this plugin called Kite, which I downloaded from the the Visual Studio Code app, and it helps me to correct errors with my programming. This can be very good because when you program, you make just other semicolon or bracket errors. It can be very frustrating. So let's try and go into Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, I'm gonna take quite a bit of a loading, and while it's loading, let's have a bit of a discussion. If you can't download those apps, or probably about those apps, Visual Studio Code is very free, so you can download it from the website itself. But if you want to go retro, not retro, you want to go simple, then you can actually use a notepad. Okay, a notepad can actually be used for those HTML stuff. It's very simple, and you can just type your basic HTML syntax here. So let's go about the basic HTML syntax, but first let's set up our Visual Studio Code. Let's set up the application itself. So I'm going to be opening a new file. Okay, a quick process before we proceed to open a new file. Let's create a new folder. Okay, a new folder. It's gonna take quite some time. I'm running some renders on the system. So a folder. Let's call it any name you want. Let me call it website project. Quite amazing, website project. And in the website project, you're gonna open the folder, and you can create. We're gonna create this folder. Let's call it HTML. Okay, let's just name it HTML. Okay, and you can press new folder again, and you're gonna name this next one CSS. Then it's gonna take some while. Then you're gonna name a new folder, and you can call it the JavaScript. Yeah. And another folder again. We're gonna have much more folders in this, more folders than the 4 folders that we're going to be creating. But this is just to to make sure that we have our files correctly stored in case you want to learn how to use the FTP to transfer your websites to the internet. So let's go. I'm gonna name those videos, okay? And I think I'm creating more than 5 folders. Let me add a new one called audios, because we're going to be touching audios in HTML. So for that reason, let's just put everything in a straight format. So we have a folder, website project, and we inside the website project folder, we got our CSS folder, the HTML folder, the images, the JavaScript, the audios, and the videos. This is just to have a systematic arrangement of our files. So let's go. So in the HTML folder, this is where we're going to be saving all our HTML files, and so for the rest, our CSS here, our audio files, our videos, our JavaScript, and images. So let's go to our HTML files. Let's get some things done. So I'm going to go back to our Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to be closing the notepad there. But okay, just for viewers' sake, when we do the simple things here, I'm going to show you how you can do the simple things in notepad. It's just a bonus. So let's select the language to get started, and I'm going to select HTML. I want to work with HTML, and boom, we got our HTML right here. So now, HTML is very simple to write. I mean, if you check out the recent HTML5, you discover that in fact a syntax are just like basically like English language, and it seems like you're trying to modernize the stuff to tell you that this thing is very easy. It's just like learning Python, okay? But this one is more simpler than Python because it's basically you communicating in English. Quite amazing, right? So let's try and create something simple. For you to type an HTML stuff, you have some basic syntax that you need to know, that you need to have an idea of, okay? So follow me along as we go. So open, we have the less than symbol, and as you can see, we have the exclamation mark with a doc type. You have to click that, and it's going to bracket it doc type, then HTML right there. Then press enter. So this is the next line, and we're gonna type the HTML tag itself. You can just click the HTML. This is why I kind of love Visual Studio Code. So with my plugins right now, it's kind of giving me the stuff. But just follow me as I go. I will explain this tag to you in some tutorials, maybe after this one. So HTML. Okay, so we're on the next line right here, and we're gonna insert the head tag. Basically, the main thing that the head tag does contain most times is just the title. So let's try and write something in the head tag. The head tag, we're gonna open in the head tag. Please don't forget to always have a slash before, when you actually want to close the stuff. You must have HTML, and there must be a slash before the end of the other word here. Now we didn't close this HTML, so let's do that real quick. And I'm gonna put slash, and you can see slash HTML. It's been closed. And yeah, that's one thing about Visual Studio Code. It highlights my errors so easily. So head, now in the head tag, we're gonna have the title. Okay, just follow this up. I'm gonna explain this in the next tutorial. Title, and this is what we're gonna be writing the title of the file that we're actually making, the kind of websites we're making. Then backspace this a bit, and let's open a space between the head and the HTML here, and we have the body tag. Now, one thing about the body tag is that it's very critical to your project. I mean, this is where you're going to write 80 to 100% of your project. I mean, the table, the images, the audio, everything. That is where you're going to be writing everything. So, about the body tag, we're going to explain more of the body tag. Most of this tutorial is just about the body tag, what you can write in the body tag, except if we want to talk about the other tags, which are meant to be like the meta set and the rest of the other tags. Now, for us to actually test what we've written here, let's add a title. So this title is going to actually show up in your website, and for that we have to still try to save this file and this document. So let's press Ctrl S, okay, and save the file. Save as, okay, and you can see we have main.html. I've already saved it just a bit. So you have to save your HTML, and you remember that we created a folder earlier, the website projects right here. So make sure you save it here instead of the HTML part so that you can have a very good arrangement of your files. So click save, and you're going to replace this. Okay, that's it. That's the saving process. Now let's write the title. I'm going to write a code flow project. Quite amazing, a code flow project. And we can have the head, the body. This is the body, and we're going to be writing some things in the body. And yeah, let me give you a basic intro into that. We're going to write our attributes and our elements right in this body place. So for a test of what we're talking about, let's try and make a heading and a simple paragraph. So let's start with the heading. Okay, to write heading HTML, we use the H tag, and the H tag ranges from H1 to H6. So let's try and make use of the H1. H1. Sorry, that's not how we write it. Open bracket, H1. Then we close it. It's going to automatically close itself. Please remember to always close your tag all the time. Errors can be frustrating. So let's write, this is my beloved project. Great. So we have, this is my beloved project. And so let's save this. Press Ctrl S to save this project. And we're going to go to our, okay, let me close this. Okay, and you can see my file right here, main.html. And once I double click on this to open it, and yeah, as you can see, we have, this is my beloved project. Quite amazing. So, and if you come up right here, you can see our title, a code flow project. And so that particular part depends on what you name your part. I mean, you might have named it my personal project or a code flow practice. Let me change this to a random project so that you can see how the changes here are being affected. So if I say a random project and I say, this is my beloved code flow project, and I save this, and sorry, we're gonna have to go back to the Chrome to view this, and you reload the page, reload, and you can see a random project and the change has been affected. This is my beloved code flow project. So that's a very simple part. Now let's try and add in a paragraph. To add a paragraph in code flow, in HTML, we use the P tag. So let's do our less than symbol. So let's do the P, and we'll close it back, and we can write, this is a good paragraph. I thought I was going to write something else. This is a good paragraph. That's great. And we can actually save that for now. We have, this is a good paragraph. We can save that for now. And once we go back to our Chrome website, we can preview this, and we have our paragraph right here. This is a good paragraph. As time goes on, we're going to explore more of the HTML tags, attributes, anything you want to call it. We're going to explore them over time. So let's just make do with this. And I said, for as a bonus, we're going to be looking at how we can also recreate this in Notepad. So do this along with me. You can copy this. Just copy this right here. Okay. Ctrl C, and you copy that, and you go to your Notepad. I have a Notepad here, and click Ctrl V. We've pasted it there, and you can actually press Ctrl S to save the Notepad file. I'm gonna say a code flow test, and we say desktop, save in the desktop. That's how we can save it. A minute. So that's it. We've saved that part, and it has been saved in desktop. So we want to run this. How do we do that? We press Option, Open with. We could have said Visual Studio Code, but anyway, there's a way in which we can actually open this. So we can actually open this. Actually, it's very simple. We can just rename this. Okay, and from TXT change to HTML, and yeah, and we have our code flow new. And when we load this, we get the same thing we got here. This is my beloved code flow project, and this is a good paragraph. So basically, that's just the basic. I mean, technically, for you not to go through the stress, I would recommend that you try and get all those editors. They are kind of quite good, and with the plugins, you can get a better view at handling your errors more easily. It can be frustrating at first, but over time you get used to it. So that's all for now. I'll see you in the next tutorial.